Hi, my name is Beck Fineman. I am a husband, a son, a brother, a lawyer, a writer, an athlete, and I am transgender. I was born and raised female, and it has not been an easy road. I had a difficult time along the way. I lived with a lot of shame. I was uncomfortable. I remember a lot of my energy when I was younger was spent just trying to feel okay. I somehow, somewhere along the way, came to believe that there are some people in this world who are just destined to be unhappy, and that I was one of them. Fortunately, I was wrong. This is my story of how it got better. When I was really little, I was allowed to mostly be myself. I dressed myself, which meant hand-me-downs from my brothers. I played on the boys' sports teams. All of my friends were boys. I was involved in their sleepovers, and everything in school was pretty normal for me. But I did get teased a lot. Kids pick up on things really easily, and they knew that my gender was like my jugular. So if they wanted to hurt me, that's what they made fun of, and it was pretty effective. It hurt a lot. Somewhere around 4th or 5th grade, I started to get the message that the boy thing had gone on for too long. This was from teachers and from other kids' parents, from my own parents. So they switched me from baseball to softball. I wasn't invited to any of the sleepovers anymore. I wasn't allowed to play pickup football anymore. And I understood what was right or acceptable and what was not acceptable. And I started a process of trying really, really hard to succeed as a girl. I wore dresses, I dated boys, I did everything I could think of to try to fit the mold that I knew was expected of me. And I hid everything else that I was feeling. I had good friends in middle school and high school, and I never spoke to any of them about anything that I was feeling. I just knew that it was wrong. I kept trying to run away from my tomboy past, and I was convinced that if I could just start over, if I could meet a bunch of kids that didn't know me, that didn't know anything about my history, that I could successfully be a girl. I mean, I really wanted that. I wanted to be pretty and popular. And I got that chance when I was in high school. I did a program called High School in Israel. And I went halfway across the world, and I spent a quarter of my year with kids that didn't know me. And I was sure that this was my shot to reinvent myself. But kids are perceptive, and they picked right up on exactly who I was, and they teased me about my gender when they wanted to hurt me. And it worked. But it wasn't just the kids, it was teachers also. I had this one teacher who I really looked up to, everybody did. And one day we were on a field trip, and we were on the bus heading towards a very religious area where men and women are separated. And so as we're getting closer, the teacher says, I want boys on this side of the bus and girls on this side of the bus. And he looks at me and he said, and you in the middle. And everybody laughed. And I laughed too and tried to pass it off like this, like I thought it was funny, but I was devastated. To me, that moment was this moment of clarity where I realized that I could be halfway around the world, and I brought myself with me. There was no escaping who I was or what I was, and that was not a comforting thought, because there was no future that had been laid out for me. What people told me about my future was that if I was myself, that doors would close for me. Nobody would hire me, nobody would love me, nobody would be attracted to me, nobody would even bother to get to know me, because all they would see would be somebody whose gender made them uncomfortable. And I believed them, but they were wrong. I came out as transgender when I was 22, and I began the process of physical and social transition. And then I went to law school, and then I passed a bar exam, and then I became a lawyer 10 years ago. And then I joined a law firm where everybody knows that I'm transgender, but it never comes up unless I bring it up. And I do sometimes, because I'm comfortable talking about it today, and I'm comfortable with who I am. Those doors that people warned me about, they have only swung open. I'm a partner at my law firm. I'm married to an amazing woman who loves all of me for exactly who I am. We're getting ready to start a family. The things about myself that caused me so much shame, that I was afraid of, that I hid from, these are the things that now have turned out to be my greatest strengths. My story is my strength, and your story is your strength, so long as you remember that you are the author of that story. Here's the thing. Along the way, I remember a lot of different people telling me that they knew me better than I knew myself. And what I was feeling back then was wrong, and that I wasn't really feeling it, and that I would grow out of it, or I would change, or I could change if I tried hard enough. And they were wrong. The things that I felt back then were real, they were true, and today I can look at them and say that they were special. My gender, that thing that made me so different, is what made me who I am today, which is resilient and compassionate and curious about life and interested in life and able to love and to be loved. Today I feel a part of the world. I feel like I have a place on this earth and something to say. I have something to contribute. I have something to give. And if I can give you one thing, I want it to be hope. You are not alone in this world. There are people like you in this world. There are people who are waiting to love you. There are people who need your love. Believe that. Believe me, it does get better.